Vic, the Metrovic Type 2, was feeling unwell. Workmen had tried to make his engine run sufficiently, but he kept on breaking down. "You must be taken out of service until you can be mended properly," said the shedmaster. "It may take some time." "Very well, sir," sighed Vic sadly. With Vic away at the works, it put the shedmaster in a difficult situation. Fred and John were to split Vic's freight trains between them. But that was more than enough work for the two of them to handle. They still had their own trains to think about. "Ironic," huffed William stuffily, "that steam is to be utilized for a failed diesel." The other engines didn't respond. "Who will help you with your trains?" asked Horwich. "I haven't a clue," said Fred. "But the shedmaster is a resourceful man. He will find a way." "He might choose me," puffed Jimmy excitedly. "Nonsense," snorted William. "The shedmaster won't choose you. You're just a shunter. I've proven I can pull trains just as well as you can over the years." "Those were exceptional circumstances," retorted William. "He wouldn't use you on a regular timetabled service. Shunters don't pull trains." "It's all right, William," said a well-known voice beside them. "You can pull John's coal trains." William quickly subsided. "Jimmy, you are the perfect size and power output for John's coal trains. You can share his work while he helps to recover Vic's trains," announced the shedmaster. "Who will look after Euston while I'm away?" asked Jimmy. "Dominic has been brought in to help whilst you perform these duties." Jimmy and the other engines were very pleased. William slunk away. The day came for Jimmy to take charge of John's coal trains. He collected his empty wagons and set off for the mine. When Jimmy arrived, his driver brought him to a stop outside of the coal yards. "We have to leave the wagons here, Jimmy," explained his driver. "We aren't allowed to run on private property." "Private property?" puffed Jimmy, confused. "But there are rails leading up to the mine. Surely we can shunt them into position." "You aren't here to shunt me, lad. You're here to pull trains," chuckled the driver. Jimmy was uncoupled from the empty wagons and was told to leave them where they were. It seemed very strange, but Jimmy did as he was told and hurried away to turn around. When Jimmy returned, he was told to wait in a siding until his loaded wagons were ready. He noticed the empty wagons had been taken from the running line. The distant clanking of wagon buffers indicated an engine shunting. "Hello there," called Jimmy. "I brought John's train and—" But before he could introduce himself, Jimmy was fiercely interrupted. "Eh, and do you think I could honestly care?" Jimmy looked hurt. No, Andrew, that's no way to speak to a mainline engine." Two colourful industrial saddle tanks drew alongside Jimmy. He was impressed by their liveries, but not at their introductory skills. "Oh, you can't call him a mainline engine. He's barely bigger than me." "I am so," snapped Jimmy defensively. "You show some respect to that engine and be off with you and sort that train out." The green engine snorted away. "I do apologise on behalf of Andrew. He has a right temper on him. I'm Peckett, and I'm a lot nicer than he is." "Nice to meet you, Peckett. I'm Jimmy. Has Andrew always been so grumpy?" As long as I can remember. He was brought in to help me with the workload. He's young and full of his own ideas. He says he feels trapped and wants to get out and onto the main line where he thinks he belongs, said Peckett. Doesn't he realise he's only a shunter? Huffed Jimmy. Well, I don't suppose he does. He's only happy when he's breaking the rules, sighed Peckett. Jimmy decided to keep an eye on Andrew. That evening, Jimmy told the other engines about Andrew. He's reckless and irresponsible, grumbled John. He's tried to take my loaded train several times. You have to keep him in line. He seems rough around the edges, but I'm sure his intentions are to be useful, considered Jimmy. Rubbish, hissed William. He's a trespasser, a deviant, so to speak. You must show him he is not a mainline engine. He is the lowest of the low, an industrial engine. He should know his place. Jimmy was in agreement with the bigger engines, but their advice was poor and misleading. Brainwashed, Jimmy sought to put Andrew in his place. At first, Peckett was the only engine Jimmy had to deal with, and the two developed a good friendship. They even talked about Simon, who originally worked in a neighbouring coal mine close by, which sadly closed. But when Peckett was busy elsewhere, Andrew was ordered to help. He tried every trick in the book to reach the main line. He would storm the points in order to escape with the wagons, but Jimmy was always there to stop him. Get out of my way, shouted Andrew. You're not going anywhere, exclaimed Jimmy crossly. Each attempt was thwarted. Jimmy thought he was winning, but he would be proven wrong. A points failure meant that the main line was accessible from the mines. Andrew didn't realise this at first until Jimmy was flagged down before collecting his train. This was the chance Andrew had been waiting for. He bumped the wagons back violently. This knocked his driver and fireman off the footplate. The wagons rolled backwards a short way before rolling back right into Andrew. The resulting shove gave the wagons the momentum to knock Andrew's brakes off, and he was pushed out of the yards and onto the main line. Stop! Stop! Shouted Jimmy. Come back, Andrew! Cried Peckett. Come on, I'm out of here! Scoffed Andrew, and he rattled away. Workmen quickly levered the points, and Jimmy gave chase. Go on, faster! Encouraged Andrew. Andrew was soon picking up speed and was starting to career out of control. Oh, I dinna like this new. Jimmy was panting up behind with every ounce of steam he had, but he was too late. Andrew was diverted into a goods yard. His momentum had slowed, but it wasn't enough to avert disaster. Andrew had collided with the buffers and landed in a coal heap. Jimmy soon arrived on the scene. Well, he observed, you wanted to escape the coal mines, and you've gone right back to where you started, with coal. Oh, shut up, Andrew sulked. Don't think you can order me around. You're an industrial shunter. You fetch my wagons. Shunters don't pull trains. Jimmy suddenly stopped. Oh no, I sound just like William. That's not right at all. Andrew looked at Jimmy perplexed. Here, let me help you. And Jimmy hurried away to find a crane in earnest. Andrew was none the worse for his adventure. He was shut up in the shed for a whole month. The National Coal Board hoped it would teach him respect about boundaries, rules, and the serious consequences of trespassing with a runaway train. He sulked for a long time. Peckett managed alone. He was sure Andrew hadn't seen sense. Jimmy handed John's coal trains back to him and returned to station pilot after Vic returned from the works. "Did you enjoy pulling trains?" asked Vic kindly. "It proved to have its challenges," admitted Jimmy, "but the shedmaster said I did so well that I can pull coal trains from time to time." Vic smiled. "Congratulations, Jimmy. That'll be a nice change for you." "And did you learn anything in the process?" asked Fred knowingly. Yes, I did," said Jimmy quietly. "I learnt never to ruin anyone's dream. No matter how big or small or mad it may seem, you should never try and put others down. Everyone has aspirations they want to achieve." "As long as it's safe to do so," grinned Fred. That made Jimmy feel better, and he puffed away to Euston Station.